Today, I want to be talking about communication skills, specifically for software engineers. You know, a lot of people like to focus on hard skills like coding or problem solving, but I noticed that in my career, not only for me, but for a lot of my colleagues, the deciding factor on who gets promoted and when and what opportunities they're given ends up being communication skills. So I prepared some quick tips for you guys, and let me actually list them all so that you know exactly what you're gonna get out of this video. Number 1, how to talk to people so that they respect you. Number 2, how to ask for things such as promotion, a raise, a training, or anything else that you actually need. Number 3, how to talk yourself out of uncomfortable situations. And when it comes to written communication, I want to tell you how to write formal documents such as project proposals or business plans or other things. Blog posts like content so that people actually want to read, so that it's engaging and people don't get bored. And finally, I'm going to give you my templates for all of those. So the first tip is actually how to talk to people so that they respect you more. And this is a lesson I learned from my personal experience and some of the mistakes that I made. Whenever somebody would ask me a question, I would answer, and then immediately I would jump into sort of a defensive mode to try and justify my own position. To give you an example, somebody would ask me, "Hey Marco, how long is this project going to take?" And instead of answering simply, "This project is going to take a month," I would say, "This project is going to take a month because I need to refactor, I need to talk to this person, I'm waiting on that." But why are you justifying? Because as a software engineer, you should be the subject matter expert, and your position should be the ground truth. Because the reality is, even if you wanted to explain everything in detail, your managers or people who are not engineers wouldn't even understand it. So the fact that you're immediately justifying and defending every single thing you say without actually being challenged on your opinion is slowly eroding your position as a person of authority. So having a little bit more confidence and simply answering without defending will actually go a very long way towards people respecting you more and more as time goes by. Now let's talk about how to ask for things. For example, let's say you want to ask for a raise. A lot of people have this misconception that you should ask for a raise only after you've achieved something great in your company. For example, I'm going to work for a year, I'm going to build all of these projects, and then I'm going to ask for a raise. But I think with my own experience, it's actually the wrong way around. You should have a conversation with your manager as early as you can about the things that you want to have in the future. So let's say, for example, you sit down with your manager and you say, "Look, I want to have this salary a year from now. I want to have this position a year from now. Let's talk about the things that I need to achieve, the kind of results I need to bring, and your expectations of me, so that next year when we are having the same conversation, the things that I'm asking for today are actually a no-brainer for you." And this has two benefits. First of all, your manager will actually respect you more as a person for being ambitious and driven and for knowing where exactly you want to be a year from now. And secondly, it's far easier to have that conversation than to show up a year later and saying things like, "Well, according to the things that I did and the results that I believe were amazing, I believe it would be in order for me to get a raise." You're putting yourself in a position to almost beg for things that you deserve anyway. And that's why I think it's so much better to have a conversation in advance so that both you and your manager know exactly what expectations of the other person are. Next, I want to share a phrase with you that is very useful for sort of getting out of tricky situations, and that is "I understand." And I learned that one from Casey Neistat. And it's such a universal phrase that you can use when talking with pretty much anybody that you strongly disagree with, but you don't necessarily want to make an enemy. Because whatever that person says, you can say, "I understand." Basically means you're not agreeing with that person, but you're comprehending what the person is saying, and you can always follow it up with like, "but," and then express your own opinion. But then it's not going to come across as like a strong disagreement either. That one might sound a little funny, but it's been very useful for me in a number of situations where I didn't really know what to say to the other person, even though I was like in a strong disagreement. Alright, so it's time to talk about written communication, but before we go into how to structure formal documents like project proposals, I think it's worth talking about writing style in general, so it's only natural to bring up today's sponsor, Grammarly. Grammarly is an AI writing partner that helps you write in a more eloquent and impactful way. It provides helpful suggestions as you write and improves your writing style and phrasing. The best thing about it is how well it integrates into almost every app and website out there. As an engineer, I tend to over-explain things, and Grammarly has this neat rewrite feature that helps me tweak my writing however I like, whether it's to keep my writing shorter, more formal, etc. One more neat feature is called App Actions, and it's basically like glue between different apps. So for example, you can search for and link to your Google Drive files, or create a task in your favorite task manager right from where you are, all without switching tabs or trying to find the write documents. And honestly, it saves me so much time. But most importantly though, Grammarly does not share your writing with any third parties to train AI models. In other words, you have complete control over your data at all times, which is very important for use at work. So check out the link in the description, you can sign up and download it in a few minutes and get all the benefits. Alright, now let's talk about how to structure a formal document such as a project proposal. And this is a type of document that really benefits from having a fixed structure. Because I have a template that you can download for free, I'm not gonna try and over-explain it here, but I'm just gonna list the most important sections. So at the very top, you wanna have like your intro section where you explain what's the purpose of the document itself. Then you wanna have a section that is actually the problem statement. What is it that we are trying to solve in the first place? So a lot of people jump straight to a solution. But before you explain what the problem is, there's no point in talking about the solution. Then once you go through your solution, you should actually include alternatives that you also considered. In order for people to take you seriously, you actually have to show that you considered other things as well. And then finally, make sure to include the pros and cons of your solution, because no solution is actually perfect. Funny story, my previous manager actually always used to ask me one question after every presentation that I give. And that question was, what's the catch? So I would always go and present my solutions and the proposals for the projects, and he would go, okay, that's very nice, but what's the catch? So make sure in your pros and cons you actually answer what's the catch of your solution. Okay, but when we're talking about writing style, I did say it's for writing blog posts, but it applies to pretty much anything you write. And I want to convey two key points. So number one is pacing. And what it refers to is the distribution of long and short sentences. So what you want to do is have a long sentence followed by a short sentence. It will improve your writing style. You know, as an engineer, you most likely have the capability to have a very long line of thoughts in your brain, but that doesn't mean it's easy to digest when you're reading that. So make sure that when you have a long explanation, you follow it up with a short one. And when it comes to writing blog posts, I will actually leave a couple links in the description from my very old blog post from like 2016. But at a time I was really obsessing about improving my writing, and I do believe they still present a relatively nice example on how to write technical documents that are not so boring to read. So that's pretty much all I prepared for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.